Earlier this year, a controversial Supreme Court ruling changed how colleges and universities review admission applications, no longer allowing them to consider race as part of the decision.
And this sparked a nationwide debate over diversity in higher education and political involvement on the Supreme Court. Now, here in Colorado, the decision directly impacted how state schools admit new students.
Denver 7's Russell Haythorne is taking a 360 look at the ruling tonight and the future of affirmative action.
Many of the protests and demonstrations outside the U.S. Supreme Court this summer centered around the court's decision to strike down affirmative action.
The majority holds that the use of race-conscious admissions practices violate the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution.
Just like that, colleges and universities selective in their admissions process are no longer able to directly consider race as part of any admissions decision.
This decision is huge.
To say that, well, this is going to hold people back, no. Pushing racism in admissions holds people back.
It just opens up the racial fault line again.
Let's start this 360 right here at Brother Jeff's Cultural Center in 5 Points, where those figurative fault lines run deep.
I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. And I'm not necessarily disappointed by the conservative majority. I'm disappointed by those who think different but decided not to show up and vote.
Brother Jeff Fard says you're seeing the consequences of years of political involvement on one side and a lack thereof on the other. And whether you like him or not, President Donald Trump's ability to get his Supreme Court nominees on the bench.
You'll have the opportunity to appoint Supreme Court justices, which in my opinion makes Trump the most powerful president probably of the century, because his reach is being felt right now on ideological terms. President Obama also had a Supreme Court pick which was not able to get even heard in the Senate.
The decision by the Supreme Court was 6-3 down the line of what many view as a clear-cut conservative majority.
Oh, give me a break.
But John Caldera with the conservative think tank, the Independence Institute, disagrees.
To say that it is a conservative court is to be selective in what decisions you look at. There are lots of other decisions that have gone the other way in this so-called conservative court.
Caldera says this should be celebrated, not demonized.
The idea that anyone should be discriminated by the color of their skin is repugnant, no matter what it is. And for people who are freaking out about this, let's remember this has been the law in places like California since 1996.
There's 9 states in the U.S. that already ban the use of race-conscious admissions in their state universities.
Sarah Chatfield, assistant professor of political science at the University of Denver, says yes, California and 8 other states all ban the use of affirmative action. But she points out it has consequences.
In those states, what we have seen is a drop in the number of Black and Latino students who are admitted.
It's going to be detrimental, especially to the ground that we've gained and being able to diversify campus communities.
Michael Benitez is the VP of Diversity and Inclusion at Metropolitan State University of Denver and fears this could further marginalize the underserved.
We could literally lose our rights and lose our voice as individuals of a society that is beginning to rekindle sort of this unwelcomeness.
On the flip side, while this decision appears to close one door, Chief Justice Roberts' opinion appears to leave another door wide open.
Schools can still consider through, for example, application essays, a student's individual experience of overcoming barriers they might have faced in their life due to racism.
Many believe universities committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion will continue along that path.
They're going to find a way. Those essay questions are going to tease out exactly what the institutions are looking for with inclusiveness. You have an opportunity to build on the best of everything.
There's a prevailing sentiment that universities will still be intentional about trying to diversify campus communities.
And they should. And there are those people who don't have the advantages of other people. And there are those people who might not have the money to go to college. By all means, colleges should look at that and say, here's a family that didn't have money. And that family, maybe we should help out.
If there's one thing that's certain in the U.S., it's that nothing is permanent.
Other than a few elitists in Harvard and other protected bubbles, we understand that.
You know, one thing about this country is it expands and it contracts.
Obviously, it is setting a new standard for affirmative action and college admissions.
And we're going to see the pendulum swing.
For Denver 7,
This is maybe a speed bump,
I'm Russell Haythorne.
but it's not the end of the story.